Alrighty, well, a very, very, very happy Thursday, everyone. It is Thursday, February 23rd of 2023. Welcome to another episode of The Throne with Justin. That is me. I am excited to bringing you along here. I want to apologize for my absence as of yesterday. A couple of things kind of teared up. Trust me, I had a plan for a program, but things change. Things change all the time. And what's so great is being able to make my own schedule. It does get it does sometimes get disappointing because when I don't do a program as I schedule to do a program on, then I tend to kind of get behind and get on track. But yesterday I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't fall asleep, couldn't get back to to bed. So I got up at 3 o'clock in the morning, cleaned up yesterday, and I started working on some projects that I'm actually pretty stoked out, pretty excited to be working on. It's something I've been prolonging for some time now. And I know we're sitting here at the end of February, and I don't want to prolong this anymore. So I started working on this yesterday, and I started doing a kind of an in-depth analysis and being like, okay, well, let me actually give you my big thoughts. So what I'm talking about here is that we're giving you my top 25s, and we're going to begin today in the females and doing the top 25. Now, the difference is that we have the top 25 in men's top 25, which I was kind of categorizing this. We have the men's top 25 of WWE, and then the men's top 25 of AEW, Impact, all the indie circuits. Now, I'm thinking about trying to combine that and give you just my top 25 in general. I know last year what we did was give you our top 10s. And so I kind of want to try to imitate that, but kind of give you a bigger, broad idea of maybe a larger expand. And because, here's the thing, there's a lot of stuff that happened and evolved over 2022. And, we have to take a moment. I don't think we properly take a moment back in time and really, analyze and appreciate it and really kind of give you our thoughts for 2022. Now, I will say this. When I give you my list, I'm trying not to be as biased as one can be. Given the circumstances that I am a WWE fan by default. I grew up a WWE fan. Yes, I watched Impact Wrestling a little bit. I watched and that's pretty much it. Impact Wrestling as I grew up, Lucha Underground and that. So when it comes down, and I kind of want to make this statement because there was a quote that has been airing on or at least been posted on social media over the last few weeks, that it was about a quote that Daniel Bryan, aka Bryan Danielson, whoever you want to address him by, said a couple years ago to Vince McMahon when Vince McMahon asked him, okay, well, do you like the AEW product? And Daniel Bryan goes on and says that, yes, I like their product. They focus around the art of wrestling, and they leave more out on in the ring and more wrestling matches compared to WWE, which is more about promos and segments and the storytelling. Now, I grew up on the storytelling. I grew up, with the year-long feud with Randy Orton and The Undertaker. I grew up with the promos and making things personal. And for me, I like WWE because I like the stories that are being told. Now, I don't think AEW is a bad product. I like AEW. If you are a fan of the actual, if you're a fan of only in ring of action, then I think AEW's is your cup of tea. For me, if you're a fan of, hey, I need some drama behind it. See, the thing is, and I think one of the reasons why I get stuck when it comes down to AEW, because a lot of the storylines are very similar. Okay. It's all right. We met the first time. It was, hey, the best versus the best for the first time. They squared off. You have a winner or you have a draw match. And then you go for round number two. Hey, I want the rematch. I want another chance. And then now it's tied at one apiece. And then you see, all right, who's the best of best in match three? Um, and then I also think that a little bit has to do with just simply them picking fights compared to maybe WWE. There's grudges, there's rivalries, there's almost a certain reason. You look at Cody Rhodes, this is a long life, um, legacy that he's trying to do the wrong. Both Dustin Rhodes and Dusty Rhodes never captivate the WWE championship. So this is simply an opportunity of a storytelling being told with Cody Rhodes. On the other hand, with going along with this big rivalry, this big storyline that we've seen with the bloodline and Sami Zayn over the last 10 months, this is they've told a story. AEW lacks of telling stories. They're more just, hey, you think you're better than me? Let's step into the ring and find out, and that's it. So when I gravitate to the storytelling, some of my lists, like I said, I try not to make this, as biased. I try to really, I was looking at this list yesterday morning, and I was like, realistically, who is the better person? Now, you go through a top 25 list, you try to put together, and yeah, you're going to have your favorites. But when I was really, really looking at this list, I was like, who's making the most impact? Who is contributing to the brand the most? And, where are they at now to where they can be? You look at age, you look at age, their accomplishments, the brand that they're a part of, and you think of, and I'm trying to put this all together. You look at returns and maybe retirement, and I think I have a pretty good list at hand, top 25 here. And yes, some of the top 25 you may agree or disagree, and that's fine. It's a difference of opinion. But I'm hoping that I could give you my top 25 today, kind of break down through it, took some notes on it. So I'm very, very excited about the top 25 giving you today. I would also give you the top 5 female matches that I have here. Now, this is just based off of my opinion, and your opinion may be very different than mine. Then I am perfectly fine with that. And I would like to hear who you guys think should be a top of the elite of 2022. What was your favorite matches? So we're going to strictly focus on the female part of wrestling today and giving you that top 25, those top 5 and so forth. I'm working on the men's, and it's going to take me probably a little bit longer than expected because, the men's, there's a broad of men that gets highlighted, yearly. Now, and hopefully that list here you guys can relate. NBA All-Star Week is over with. I know we don't talk a lot about NBA and about basketball, but I would like to go ahead and just break down, and not break down, but kind of give you a pre description of where the Eastern and Western conferences are, and probably who I think are in favorites or are in jeopardy over the remainder of the season on that. So I'd like to give you a look at that. We'll take a look at the local sports. No sports in the local Cincinnati area today. Everyone's getting ready for the weekend. A couple big tournament games and matchups are going on. I want to point out something from last night. The Cincinnati Cyclones. Currently, this is going to be a fun race for the ECHL league. If you guys are following the Cyclones or Double A Hockey League, the Cyclones currently are captivating the first place position in the Central after a win last night against the Norfolk Admirals. Already on top of that, so a lot of so exciting times there. We'll get into a little bit of details about that. A couple of things I want to kind of go ahead and bring to you here, as his opening segment, because ultimately tomorrow spring training starts, and I can't think that spring training starts, you guys, and I'm very excited. Baseball season is back at its best. We're gonna see some new rules, and here's my thing. All right, the Cincinnati Reds going to get ready to play, get ready to kick off their spring training against the Cleveland Guardians. And, a lot of people are going to say it's just spring training. They're out in Arizona. A lot of the games don't mean much anyways. You're not going to see a lot on television. You're not going to see a lot on a lot happening. Well, you know what? There is stuff happening. And, first and foremost, I think it's important to highlight that apparently David Bell is going to give Brandon Williamson the nod for opening day in spring training. So he will be scheduled to face the Cleveland Guardians on Saturday. We'll get you more details and dive into it tomorrow on a Friday, getting you guys ready for the weekend. But you know what? listen, here's I think what gets me going and kind of really boils my skin. It gets me excited about baseball. Is that I've told you guys this from time and time again the last couple weeks, that I think once spring training hits, especially once opening day hits, that the Castellinis and the front office just needs to stay hidden for the rest of the year. Stop going out there making public address announcements. Stop going out there and trying to connect with the fans, because you know what? It's just not happening. And the fact that Rob Manfred and the commissioner of Major League Baseball has had to step in and had to made a comment about the issues going on with with how the Reds are trying to promote baseball, and and it's being conceived in a negative way. Just stay hidden. All right. Let this team do what they need to do. Let David Bell coach the team. Let Nick Krell make the trades, and let him kind of figure out how to put a winning ball club with what his restraints are. Now, I hear the controversy, and I hear the question is that, do we need to start pointing fingers at Krell too? Hold him responsible. Well, you know what? At some level, yes, we do. All right. But at other levels, you guys, I think this is, this guy with his hands tied, and he can only do so much. And he has such a young roster. And when he's been told, hey, we got to use this young roster and build them up, then he's doing with what he's got. And I can't point fingers at him. But I think as fan base, and this is going to be directly to you guys, the fans of the Cincinnati Reds, right? You guys got to now determine what you guys are going to do, how you guys are going to handle the season. Now, last year, I didn't go to a single baseball game. I didn't really like how the Castellinis rubbed off on me on opening day. Wasn't a big fan of that. All right. So with that being said and done, are you a Cincinnati Reds fan or not? Are you going to go out to support the ball club? Because I'm going out to the games this year, not to go support the Castellinis, not just go support the organization, but to go support the players. I mean, there's a lot of things I think you can look forward to in the 2023 season. For example, Joey Votto. This may very well be his last year. More than likely, it is. And to be a Reds, go out and see him play one last time. Tyler Stevenson is this and I feel personally, we'll get into this, an overprotected catcher that is coming back of injuries. Now, I think he's a vast potential. He has great stuff. He could hit the ball. He's a great catcher. I think, you protect him a little bit, maybe position him into first base a little bit more and whatnot, and I'll have to take care of the blinds during our first break here in a moment. But, Jonathan India growing. I mean, there's stuff out of the rotation to see the sophomores out of Hunter Green, Nick Lodolu, Graham Ashcraft. Those three guys developing, seeing if they can learn from their mistakes. They're going to be given this Reds team on a silver platter. They're going to be like, all right, I got to be able to take this team, turn it, this is my team now. These are my players now. There's no Luis Castillo holding us back. There's no Mike Minor holding us back. And, let's actually show them why we are in the major leagues. So we're going to, so there's reasons to be exciting to watch some baseball for the Reds this year. Jonathan India growing. Spencer Steer, Jake Fraley, TJ Friedel, Stuart Fairchild. These are a bunch of group of young guys that you got to go see how they develop and how they form. And, whether you want to call this minor league team, so be it. But, I mean, I don't think that we can allow or continue to allow people or our grudge against the ownership, because I think a lot of it is, they're not playing to their standards. And I get that. And, the players have acknowledged what they are capable of doing, what they're not capable of doing. So I understand that concept, but I think a lot of our anger, a lot of our frustration, a lot of our gripe and our attack on the players are coming from the front office. So, I want to hear from you guys. Are you guys excited about the 2023 Reds baseball season? I know I am. I think I'm just excited about baseball being back in general. Well, I do want to talk about coming back from break. Reds have announced their advertisement they're going to be wearing on their sleeves. So I'll release and talk about that. I also want to talk how to watch MLB baseball. On top of that, I have some players with most to prove in 2023. That's going to all come to you next. I want to get down to the, all that fun stuff that we talked about here in the in our opening segment with our female stuff, local sports. A lot to come, a lot to talk about, you guys. Take you guys up for 2 hours. I mean, we'll be done by 2:00 this afternoon. So sit tight, grab your drink, grab your popcorn. If you guys are watching us over there on YouTube, thank you so much for making this your sports talk show here. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Press on those notifications and don't miss a single episode. Take us on the road with you wherever you go. Also, download us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Spreaker. Anywhere you listen to your audio platforms, you can find the throw-in. Download, listen, don't miss a single segment. Over there on Facebook and Twitter, thank you guys. Hit that share and subscribe button as well. Like it, share it with your friends. Let other people know what we're talking about here. If you guys want to get involved into the comments, head on over to our YouTube page. Leave us a comment down below. You'll be up on here. We'll be talking about whatever you guys want to talk about as well. All right, 2 hours just getting underway. Let's take a time out. You guys are listening to The Throne with Justin right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. I can't let them take my soul. Alrighty, 10-12-23 on the Throne. You want to give our big shout out, you guys. None of this is possible without StreamYard.com. Go check out StreamYard if you guys are looking to create your own podcast, your own virtual business meetings, your own interviews, videos, stuff like that. Great website to use. They have a free version, and they are able to put up banners, our logo in the top right left-hand corner, overlays and sharing screens. StreamYard.com. Go check out their free version today. Now, I know back in the first opening segment, we had our little issue with the blinds, the curtains, right? Whatever you want to call them, flapping back and forth in the background. And throughout the break, I was running through the house trying to run through the closet. I first grabbed a rubber band to try to block it, but I had such an old rubber band, it kind of just broke on me. And so I grabbed a shoelace from the closet and I tied the curtains so that you don't hear the flapping back and forth. I mean, because it's a very nice day, mid low to mid 70s, nice cool breeze, kind of a little bit of windy, like it's been the last couple of days, but very nice. Feel like, and what's great out here for the East Coast, it's like this type of weather is baseball atmosphere weather, and I'm like, awesome. Like, let's get down into baseball conversations. I love baseball, and as baseball begins, it actually begins tomorrow. A handful of games. Um, as spring training in both Cactus and Grapefruit League uh, gets underway. And it got me thinking a little bit. All right. It got me thinking that, I have the MLB at bat. And I was like, how am I, you know, what's going on? I heard a little bit of conversations about Bally Sports, which holds numerous of games. It's gonna potentially be out of market, no longer. I'm like, man, that really sucks. I hate it. Don't like it. So I got, stumbled across this article a couple of days ago, and it was talking about MLB now being MLB TV now being partnering with MLB at bat, and they were going over the options for this year's season. And MLB TV subscribers are also going to have now access to minor league baseball games. Okay. I don't know about you, but that's, as a baseball fan, as much baseball as possible, I will never get tired, whether it's from major leagues down to high, T-ball per se. So, I was looking at this article and they were going over the package plans. Now I know this sounds like a lot, but I want to just kind of go over each package plan that this has. And I have MLB at bat. I get it. I get the subscription every year. I think it's like $30, it's like $30-$40 a month. You get everything, but you get all the out of market games. So because I'm in, Cincinnati, Kentucky, and they play the game locally, then I don't get the game on MLB at bat. Unless you are unless you have one of the subscriptions, cable subscriptions that gets the game, or the game's on ESPN or FX or Fox or whatever. So it's kind of hard to follow baseball. Nothing wrong against audio. What the guy is at, play by play. I've listened to a lot of play by play games. I grew up listening to guys like Vince Scully, Ted Leitner, Jerry Coleman, the good old Jerry Coleman with the San Diego broadcast, Tony Gwynn. You have a lot of great broadcasters out there. And but being able to watch the game is a little different. I like to turn on the game once in a while, and I don't have Bally Sports. So I was coming across this article. So this is kind of beneficial and maybe helps anyone who's looking to get baseball subscriptions. Like I said, this does cover not only MLB games, but minor league games as well. So starting off at the first package, which is going to be MLB at bat, that's $29.99 for the entire year, or $4 a month. All right, and that's going to include all MLB teams' audio, MLB Big Inning, expanded content library, free game of the day, MLB Game Day, and then also the new stuff is MILB affiliated games with MLB app and MILB minor league baseball games with the First Pitch app. So what does that mean? Well, you're going to get your audio platform. Okay. You're going to get the expanded content library, which means everything throughout the year. Like if you want to go back and watch April 28th, if you're July 4th, you want to go back and watch the game on April 28th, you go back and watch it. You get the free game of the day, which I think, that includes whatever. Usually they pick out one game of the day that they will let you watch for free. And then the new stuff is about the MLB affiliated games. So the minor league games, you'll get the affiliated to your team, like the Reds, basically when you subscribe, you have to choose your favorite team. And from there, you go on and you can get the affiliated games. And then You could kind of brief the game through the First Pitch app. All right. The second one, okay, is MLB TV single team. That package is $129.99. You're going to get everything in the first one. So you're going to get everything that I just mentioned earlier. And it also includes, okay, plus your favorite team's games and new select pre and post game show. Okay. So you'll get all the audio, you get everything that's included, and then you'll get your favorite team's games, and then sometimes you get the pre-game and the post-game, depending if they have one. And then the last but not least, all right, I think for me you have to be a diehard fan, bang for the buck. MLB TV all teams for $159.99 for a year or $25 a month. Okay, and let's face it, that's 2, 4, 6 months. To equal up to $150. You think of it, you got February, March, April. So March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So about the same price. Okay. Given. You get everything in the second package plus all teams included. Now, here's my question about all of that. Is that what I've been getting the last few times, and it's about $30 a year. It's every game that's not in the market. So if the game is not being aired on television in your local area, or it's like the Reds have Bally Sports, it gets broadcasted here. Or if the game's on ESPN or if it's on Fox, then I don't get the game on the MLB at bat. So you're telling me though that if I spend $150 more, which is another $100 more than what I originally spent, I'm going to get all of that, plus the audio and this and that. And I'm thinking that may be beneficial, especially since we covered Reds games. Plus, I could log in to wherever I want, tune it in, and there you go. It's also good and said and done. So if you guys are baseball fans, and I say this, and here's the thing. This is what the the minor league baseball deal is going to be included with. All right, you got the home games for all 30 AAA and double teams from your favorite teams. All right, so let's break this down. You go to MLB TV, you go to MLB at bat, and you sign up. All right. When you sign up, they're going to ask you a list of questions. One of those questions is going to include, all right, what is your favorite baseball game or team? All right, we're going to go put the Reds down on the list, and that means you're going to get all the games from major league level down to even single A level for baseball teams. Okay, in the inclusion of the minor league deal, which is now combining itself with major league's package plans. Okay, you're going to get all home games for all 30 AAA and AA teams. So you got the Chattanooga Lookouts, you got the I think Dayton Dragons, right? And then you go down, I think it's the Dayton Dragons. Correct me if I'm wrong. And then you get, then right now they're providing 22 out of 30 of the high A, Class A, single A teams. And then they have so far 19 of the 30 high A teams. So from single A to triple A, you get a vast majority of the home games. Okay. So, and what's great about it is that Major League Baseball is still working on it. More clubs are still expected to be added into the mix ahead of opening day. Okay. So if you are a baseball fan and you're planning on wanting to watch a lot of baseball, and see what I would do is if I get the $150 package, I'd probably watch a solid 100 games out of it at least. On top of that, at least that's major league level, I'd go back and watch some of the minor league games, especially take advantage of it. For me, it's something always great to have in the background. I don't know how many times this weekend I was doing something on the computer or I was, just watch, and I had a baseball game on in the background. I actually, matter of fact, I had some wrestling dual meets in the Big Ten conference on in the background. But, they're trying to add more to bang for your buck. And one thing that I think is despised for me heading into like competitive football. I'm sorry. I absolutely will not pay to watch a single football game. When you have availabilities, we have the red zone is half the time is included into your subscription. All right. You get games on CBS and on Fox every Sunday. Half the time I can't even watch Thursday night or Monday night football, and when I can, I watch Monday night football on ESPN. Thursdays on Apple TV or the NFL, and I'm just no, I'm not gonna do it. And I understand the whole concept of, hey, these people got to, these owners got to make money. These are just television deals and rights and all that stuff. Well, listen, I mean, I don't personally believe that paying for a annual sport like this, it's never been paid for, and I don't think why you should start putting in money. Now, the reason why you put in money to, is if you are going to catch every single game. The reason why I put in money for baseball is because I know I'm going to watch baseball, and it also helps for this, for what we do here, because, half the time, it's only so much is going to be put on the internet, and articles and statements. And unless you're actually being able to watch it yourself, you're really not knowing what's happening with 2 outs on third base, with a runner on third base and a tie ball game at the bottom of the 8th inning. There's a difference between typing that out, talking about it, and actually witnessing it yourself. So I would, if you guys are baseball fans, that is your package out there. All right. MLB has released something new this year, is that they're going to start wearing patches of advertisements, sponsorships on their sleeves. And one thing that we will see this year, is, we saw some teams last year with it. What we will see this year are the Cincinnati Reds. And they have I have the picture here. The first sponsor is Kroger's. Cincinnati Reds will be advertising Kroger, the local convenience store, local shopping store in the area. They will be wearing their patch on the sleeve. If you're watching us on TV, if you guys are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, you can see that patch on Joey Votto's sleeve. I think was it right sleeve? Yep, right sleeve there. And that's what they're planning on wearing. And you know what? Listen, for me, it's not a big. I really don't care about what they have, as long as they, it doesn't really conflict into their actual logo. So I think that's gonna be exciting. Something pretty new, heading into 2023 season. I don't. Let's be honest. I want to say it was the Korean League or Japan League that's been wearing patches, and they really fill them up like all the way to the top. But I mean, and overall, I mean, it's a patch. I think that white. Look at it again. That white. It's white with the blue Kroger. It's a white patch and it has the blue lettering for Kroger. And that for me, it doesn't really take up a lot of space. It doesn't really alternate the jersey. I don't even think a lot of people are going to pay attention to it. And to be honest, I don't know really what it does other than just an advertisement. You're going to see the Bill Cats be changed as a logo process there. But that's pretty much it. So I want to give you that there. All right, let's take a break. Let's come back. I want to give you the players to the player from each team in the NL Central that has the most to prove in 2023. That's still to come, all the way up for 2 hours here on the Throw-In, available on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
I'll be saved by rock and roll. You can take my money, steal my car, and sell my clothes. You can take the shoes I'm in.
Alrighty, welcome back.
Take everything
to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And you know what? It's such a beautiful day outside. Got the breeze going on, and it's gonna. I'm not looking forward to the summertime because of the humidity and heat. I'll be honest with you like that. I gotta have fans on me left and right, and I think it's just natural for me to have fans on. See what's going on here. Sorry, getting text from the missus. But okay, so this is kind of one sec. There we go. All right, so it's 2023 seasons here. The one thing I would like to do better this year than I think I've done over the last year is pay more attention to the divisional teams that are included with the teams that we talk about. For example, last year we tried to pay attention to the Central the best we can. I think we utterly failed at it, I will say. But I would like to also pay attention to more of the than we try to do with the Bengals, the Steelers, the Ravens. That utterly failed. So I would like to continue. I would like to focus this year on everything, for the broad of the entire NL Central, on top of big stories. I mean, there's going to be times where we're not going to have anything to talk about. We're going to have 2 hours to provide in content, and only focusing one team sometimes, especially on a team that is projected to lose a lot this year, I think it's kind of difficult to just keep on covering stories. So I would like to focus on that. I think that is paying dues and giving them what they expect. And with that being said, I mean, if you look at the NL Central right now, okay, I think it's kind of hard to see an NL Central, without the Cardinals somewhere on top. Okay. I mean, I know they had a miraculous run, and realistically, what are they doing? They don't have Albert Pujols, and they don't have Yadier Molina. They retired, but they still are a very dangerous team. And you know what? It goes with the Milwaukee Brewers. They fell short towards the end of the year when St. Louis just broke away again. And so Milwaukee has an argumentative case that they could be at the top of the division too. Now, I still think that in NL Central, there's one team going out. It would be very surprising to see two teams after what we saw last year. And if we could have a repeat year from last year, and sometimes baseball gives you that, then we're going to see the NL National League just be dominated from the East and from the West. That means there's only room for margin of minimum error because there's only one team allowed. Okay. And now, listen, as a Reds fan, as a Reds native right now, living in Cincinnati, and I can see I talk about the Padres until I'm blue in the face, but we're not talking about the Padres. We're talking about the Cincinnati Reds. And I think coming in, I think this is a pretty bold statement. Any team is available to win this division, but the Reds have a long way to work. Now, in every team, you have flaws. You have questions. You have bad questions. You have good questions. When you have good questions, the good questions are like, what is your minor league team? How are you? The good questions would be, hey, we're overstacked in this position. Who's going to get that starting yard? It's not. In another sense of the bad questions is that we don't even have the fourth and fifth starter in our rotation compared to, we got 4 or 5 people that can and are starters that will be competing for a spot. Not, okay, we have 3 minor league guys that never started yet, and they're going to compete for a spot. Doesn't work that way. Good questions. Who's going to, we're locked, set, and closer. We have 3 guys that could be our closer right now. The bad question is that, we don't even know who our closer could be. And I think as spring training was developing and we saw a lot of that stuff during spring, during the, just last week, Cincinnati Reds have unanimously named Alexa Diaz as your closer, which is fine. You know why? Because you could also throw in Lucas Sim when you need to. If TJ Antone can come back and stay healthy, he's a potential setup closer guy. Um, so, I mean, there are a couple of options, which I think it's a good thing. And I think the number one key thing for the rotation and that bullpen, especially, is health. Key word health. But, and every team, you have good questions, you have bad questions. And every team, you have flaws. And every team, you have those one persons. And so, what we're going to be taking a look at right now are the top player to be the player to most improve from every team in the NL Central. I want to thank over there on MLB.com for posting up this article. I believe, I strongly believe, and it makes some good valid points. We're kicking things off with the Chicago Cubs. Chicago Cubs have the, we're just going to go right down that list. And so the Cubs have Cody Bellinger as the guy to prove that has the most to prove in 2023. Got to remember, Bellinger was over with the Dodgers last year. Cubs picked him up. I mean, listen, the Cubs are paying him on a $17.5 million for 1 year. 1 year, you guys, to be their everyday center fielding, hoping that he can inject some power into the lineup, and it's a much better upgraded defensive decision in the outfield. Think about, the Cubs have changed a little bit last year since then. Okay. The 2023 question is which Bellinger are you going to see? And I think there is a similarity in some of these selections that we have, but which Bellinger are you going to see this season? All right. From 2017 and 2019, he won Rookie of the Year. He won the MVP award while posting 928 OPS. But then 2020 to 2022, Bellinger had a 648 OPS with injuries mixed in the offensive woes. And so, okay. And I think, I don't know the timetable that you should give an athlete. COVID was 2020, and fair to say that kind of corrupt a lot of players that probably need to play on an annual basis. Now, they did have some sort of abbreviated year, and then they went back to 2021. But they're also the effect of the CBA lockout, right? The baseball lockout last season, which I think also put a small damper because just as much as the players rely on playing each and every year, there are players that rely on spring training to get themselves ready. And maybe the last 3 years have been such a rocky road trip for Cody Bellinger. And listen, the Cubs have done their due diligence. Let's not get them wrong. They picked up a handful of guys. Dansby Swanson's added to the mix. Eric Hosmer's added to the mix. I mean, all kind of giving them that life, that second chance that they need, right? And so it's now, I think it comes, we had to pick one person. That's Cody. And I think Cody he came from a Dodgers organization, one of the top elite guys that you really think highly of. You think of any guy coming out of LA, out of the Dodgers franchise, and you're kind of like, hey, you're bringing some promise to the promised land. It's just like when the Padres signed Xander Bogaerts from the Red Sox. Guys coming out of Boston are top guys, or they should be on their way to be top elite guys, just like the Yankees. And so when you pick up a guy like Cody Bellinger, out of all the questions, you picked up Hosmer, who got traded, and then you went out and picked up Swanson. The Braves are playing really well, but yeah, Cody Bellinger is one of your more petite guys. Coming in at the second spot, we'll take a look at the Cincinnati Reds, and that's going to be Nick Senzel. Man, listen, contract year, I think likely the most crucial season for Senzel's career. I think this year will make it or break it. Affected by injuries in the past 4 seasons and is carrying a 601 OPS last season, the 27-year-old will have to stay healthy to show some of the hitting powers that made him the second overall pick in 2016. If he is to hold down the center field job, right now, it was just, I think the Reds put out an article yesterday that Senzel is going to be in that competing spot out there in center field with Nick Solak. And the one thing I'll say to this is that they're trusting. They could have got rid of Nick Senzel, and I think it's the contract that really kept them around. But don't be, the Reds are on this new look. They're trying to develop these younger guys, and if Nick Senzel is not up to the standard that the Reds need him to be, don't think that the Reds will hesitate to throw in a Nick Solak or a Stuart Fairchild out there in center field just because. Listen, if he's not going to give you the solid, consistent numbers that you need him out of center field to do, then you're going to throw in these younger guys thinking that they need to get Michael Ciani could get some hits, can get some at bats. He could get some experience in center field. So I really won't wait, won't sit on it. I'm confident unless Senzel gets hurt or he shows fatigue in spring training that he's going to get the nod for spring training for the opening day. But don't be surprised if by May, maybe even June, if he doesn't pick up those numbers and he doesn't become that consistent center fielder that they want him to be, that he kind of get put down to the bench, or even you could see him either get released, traded, or even get brought down to the minor leagues. All right, a team after that is the Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee most to prove in 2023 is Christian Yelich. Kind of impressive that he's kind of still around, providing some value in the leadoff role last year with his 738 OPS, was the only 2 points higher than his career low 736 in 2021. Although with the arrival of catcher William Contreras and Jesse Winker may help provide some protection at the plate around Yelich in the batting order, he'll have something to prove until he reestablishes himself as a run producer. I think that this image, I don't know the future, and I'm not going to go project or even think to know what the future holds for Christian Yelich out there for the Brewers. I know he's kind of been with the Brewers his entire tenure there. Hopefully, with some additional key at bats around that bullpen, it kind of takes the workload off of him so that he's not overwhelmed, which then can result in a better performance level. But Christian Yelich is one of those guys. It's like, all right, before we give up on you, before we decide to move on with you, we kind of built a little establishment around you. Let's see how you handle it the best. Pittsburgh Pirates. Travis Swaggerty is your most to prove in 2023. The Pirates have a flurry of young talents that is clamoring for a spot on the 40-man roster. Additionally, and I think this is important, and the Pirates may have had made a mistake on this, but the Pirates will eventually need to clear up a spot for the backup catcher. Indy Rodriguez, the only other catcher on the 40-man roster, will begin the season in AAA. Through a rough start filled with injuries, Swaggerty finished last season off in AAA with a solid 747 OPS across 107 games. Travis might be a former top 10 draft pick, but the clock is ticking. Man. That's gonna, I think the Pirates are kind of they kind of put themselves in a negative position. And finally, but not least, Tyler O'Neill coming out of the Cardinals, making that change. O'Neill 2021 was 286, 34 home runs, 80 RBIs, 912 OPS in 138 games. In 2022, 14 home runs, 58 RBIs, 96 games. With McNeil, which McNeil are we now going to see? We saw 2 clear seasons of it after dealing with hamstrings and shoulder injuries. McNeil decided that he was going to stay in St. Louis during the offseason, reworking his conditioning program to promote better health in the season ahead. I think this is simple. The Cardinals are a fighting team. I think, if I'm not mistaken, O'Neill's also fighting for a center field position there. So, McNeil out there for the Cardinals. The Cardinals are always going to bring the best of the best. I really don't have too much worries moving forward from McNeil. All right, hour number one has been concluded. You guys out are that is the NL Central's most approved of 2023. We'll come back and take a look around the local sports in Cincinnati. Also, a little take on the MLB, NBA play standings, as well as still wanting to get to in hour number two our top 25 female wrestlers of 2022, as well as the top 5 matches of the year of 2022 for the female wrestling. All right, so all that's still to come. You guys are listening to the Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
So addicted, yeah. Look around, I stop and stare.
Hour number two here is given to you by Spreaker from iHeartRadio. Every episode of The Throw-In is available on Spreaker and distributed across all audio platforms. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker. I mean, if you listen to audio platforms, you listen to podcasting, you can find it. Type in The Throw-In. You can find it. Share it with your friends. Let them know. And if you guys are also creating podcasts and want to find audio platforms to best fit you, yeah, there's options around there that are free. Of course, go ahead and do that. I know when we first started uploading our podcast on audio platforms, it was free, but Spreaker kind of allows you some other opportunities, if you know what I mean. Not going into details. I'll let you guys find out for yourself. Head on over to Spreaker.com. All right, hour number two here, and you know what that means on the top of every hour, at least on the top of this second hour of our program. We like to take a visit around the world in Cincinnati, all the sports going on, everything you need to look at. As we mentioned to kick off our program, you guys, we had Brandon Williamson is going to get the nod for the Reds, and I hope that I just noticed that the string kind of slid down, so hopefully it's not going to fly over. Here, let me fix it real quick. Just slid it back up because I don't want the blinds kind of flying all over. I heard that first segment. I just think that's going to be terrible. So Brandon Williamson is going to get the nod on Saturday to take on the Cleveland Guardians, and this is going to be the first look and the first test. And I think it's, listen, you want to kick off and have a great spring training, regardless if you're going to be on the main roster, down in the minor league roster. So we'll get you more about that coming up. All right, kicking things off in the ECHL double minor league double A hockey. The Cyclones hosted the Norfolk Admirals last night with an impressive shutout win of 4-2. Zach Andrusiak and Matt Berry both put up a goal in the game. Matej Parker put up 2 goals in their shutout performance last night. They're going to be coming up and playing tomorrow against the Adirondack Thunders. Some weird names. Puck drops at 7:30. It's going to be Michael Hauser's bobblehead night. I would like to try to go to the game because if anyone has any tickets, send them my way. Send them my way over there. We'll see how that game's. The puck drops at 7:30 in the ECHL. I want to say, listen, I want to say get too comfortable, but hey, the season we're starting to fight. All right, if you're into hockey and in the local area, start checking out. I know they have the free. What I discovered is that the Cincinnati Cyclones have the free audio coverage on the website. So if you guys want to listen to the game, check it out. But then, if you sign up for the free hockey games on the what is it? Fight, not fight. It's on I forgot the program it's on, but you can get every hockey game on it. But let's check. Got to follow the Cincinnati Cyclones. They currently sit in first place in the ECHL Central, 30-12-5. Fields are right behind them, 32-17-2, and the Walleyes 30-15-4. What's going to be exciting is about tomorrow night's game. All right, we're going to see. Tomorrow night we're going to see Fuel and the Walleyes do battle with each other, which is going to definitely help our situation in the central spot. Men's basketball, the Bearcats, all right, they impressed and improved their schedule, 19-10, on a 2-game winning streak. They beat Temple Owls in overtime. Final score 88-83. Landers Nolly put up 20 points along with David DeJulius. 9 points of those from Landers were in the overtime possession. They only got 2 games left, you guys. Basketball is really winding down. I think expected to end by next weekend. They play this Sunday at Memphis at 2 p.m. And then they're going to be playing on March the 5th versus SMU at 2 p.m. also. So if you're looking to catch out the final basketball game before any March Madness basketball tournaments, definitely finish off the season strong playing with checking them out at on the 5th. Continuing in men's basketball, Kentucky Wildcats are 19-9, picking up another win, a 3-game winning streak after they beat the Florida Gators on the road 82-74. Tashribi Oscar put up 25 points in the performance last night. Another rookie performance coming from the youngsters. 10-5 is in the conference. The next game is on the 25th, which is this Saturday, versus Auburn at 4 p.m. Their home streak is 13-3. It's going to be a very, very good game. Only 2 more games left after the Auburn. They'll have one on March 1st against Vanderbilt, and then one on March 4th at Arkansas. So listen, basketball season winding up. We talked about this. We'll get you guys ready for not basketball, but the March Madness tournament. Take a officially look into the bracket. And I think, as I mentioned, I'll look into the bracket as we get very close to the schedule, because I think after the last game, tournament play, I believe, starts on March 9th. Over in college basketball, the Musketeers dropped to 12-8 to Louisville against the Cardinals. 8-12. Xavier put up 8 runs, 15 hits, 1 error. Louisville put up 12 runs, 17 hits, 1 error. Kind of a back and forth game for the most part. Luke Hoskins put 2 2/3 innings together, giving up 4 hits, 2 runs, and 2 strikeouts. The losing pitcher, Luke Bell, pitched into 2/3 of an inning, giving up 3 hits and 3 runs. Matt McCormick, Jared Cushing, and Matthew Dupree all put up home runs in the game. McCormick has hit his second on the season. Their next game is going to be the 3-game series beginning tomorrow at West Carolina, as the Musketeers begin the season off 0-5. We'll like to get to a better start at some point, hopefully. We'll like to see a better start after that. That's around the sports news there and everything going on. All right. Listen, we have ourselves some NBA information. I didn't really put any package together promoting this or talking about this. I just kind of wanted to briefly update you as NBA begins their second half of the season today. They kick things off. A lot of games, I believe all teams are performing. And I really honestly just want to kind of go over the Eastern and Western Conference standings and kind of give you my projection. And so, you're watching this, just bear with me. Kicking things off in the Eastern things. Boston is kind of leading things up there with Milwaukee's a half a game out. followed by Philadelphia and Cleveland, 5 under. Brooklyn and New York, constant. They're kind of looking solid. 7.5 out for the Nets, and then for the Knicks is about 9.5 out. In that bubble in the Eastern Conference, Miami, Atlanta, and Washington and Toronto, with the furthest is 14 games out of the top. Chicago, Indiana, Orlando, Charlotte, Detroit, all on the outside looking in. And the first thing I think pops to my mind looking at the central, at the conference is I'm going to tell you. I mean, I don't follow a lot of basketball. I don't sit down and watch a lot, the NBA games like it's baseball, but we don't have an NBA team to cover. And so, but I know enough to say that that times have changed. Boston, Milwaukee is kind of one of those teams you've always expected to be up there. Boston and Milwaukee, is kind of like the forefront center. You kind of know that they're going to be in the playoffs each and every year. And then you're followed by, Philadelphia, Cleveland, kind of two surprising teams. Not maybe Philadelphia. I think with Philadelphia, the surprise out of Philadelphia is that, how long can they last, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure Philadelphia is one of those teams that can always repetitively for the next few years stay up there in the top, I don't know, 5, 6, and then find their way in. And then it's just about lasting. Cleveland's in there. I think that's catching a lot of people off by surprise. Brooklyn, I've seen them get better over the last few years. I really like Brooklyn, and then the New York Knicks. Interesting teams that come out that's in the bubble right now. Washington, maybe, Miami a little bit. I figured Atlanta's right there. Toronto's, kind of, this is where kind of basketball is up 1 year, down 1 year. Toronto, I've always expected the last couple of years, Toronto kind of being more up in the top. On the outside looking in, Chicago still has that opportunity. They're 2 games out from Toronto. Indiana's kind of the same way, but you really kind of start dropping off there as Orlando, Charlotte, and Detroit. I mean, Detroit only 15 wins on the season, so nothing really too invasive. Over there in the Western Conference, just write down the list. In the top 6, you got the Nuggets, Memphis, Sacramento, Clippers, Phoenix, Dallas. And then in that little 4-team bubble, you got the Pelicans, Minnesota, Golden State, Oklahoma City. On the outside looking in, you're seeing Utah, Portland, Lakers, San Antonio, and Houston. The only team I really consider, it feels very identical to the Eastern Conference in this sense of the gap range. On the outside looking in, you could count out San Antonio and Houston just as much as you can almost count out Charlotte and Detroit in their, in the back end at the bottom end of each conference. One thing that comes out a little surprising to me that I've seen is the Lakers. The Lakers' third to worst record in the Western Conference. Now, they sit at 27-32, 14 games back. All right, compared, maybe a game and a half out of Oklahoma City in the bubble. But this is where kind of like you got to start pressing a little bit, right? You're in the second half of the season. You would like to see yourself go back into the playoffs, especially with LeBron James. You've done your due diligence. Now, if you see another season, all right, this is going to be, I think, my pet peeve here. If you see yourself in another season, all right, repetitively, not going to the conference, not going to the playoffs, then I think that there has to be a much bigger and broader look at the organization. And I don't think, everyone said we don't want to go point fingers at LeBron James for making all these decisions or having his forefront on these decisions. But LeBron James, he's going to, I think he's going to look into, is it even worth staying with the Lakers? Yeah, we could, at the end of the day in history, the 2020 season states the Lakers won the NBA championships, but it wasn't a celebration worth mentioning because the Dodgers won the World Series, but we really don't talk about that. For me, that's because it was built off of a shortened season. The Lakers had this, miraculous run after a 4-month break of the regular season. What's so interesting about the Western Conference, all right, is to see a lot of these teams kind of flip-flop and back and forth. There's no just one good team. in the Western Conference. Just like the Eastern, Boston and Milwaukee, two teams that you could always talk about being up there at the top of the league. All right, they're going to kind of set the tone. I mean, you even got Golden State. Okay, you even got Oklahoma City, and maybe that's an understatement. You even got Phoenix that are still definitely ways away. Phoenix is 9.5 games out. Golden State is 11.5 games out over Denver. Okay, I mean, and like I said, I'm not too well experienced. I really don't quite know how Denver has progressed what they've done to do things right, to be 41-18. I mean, but they're looking pretty damn good, in my opinion. LA keep Clippers. I like to see the Clippers in there. Always, they're only 9 games out, holding themselves down. They always get me worried and kind of scared when they get into the postseason. There, Dallas is in there. They're 10.5 games out. So it's practically anybody's ball game. So that's the NBA standings. Like I said, we don't really cover too much about that. We'll cover that a little bit later as maybe the season progresses. But our main focus is on Major League Baseball as we turn our attentions to spring training this coming up weekend. Cincinnati Bengals, of course, Cincinnati Cyclones, and that's pretty much it. So, all right, let's take a break. Want to go ahead and come back, and I think I want to go ahead and get started giving you my top 25. So we'll continue all that, take you guys up until 2. You guys will listen to the throw-in here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
I write to you in poetry with words left on the shelf. Full of dust, you'll know it's me and from nobody else. Grab your seat at the fantasy parade.
Alrighty, 121 here. Discover your world-class artists, composers, and bands. Find the perfect soundtrack and give your social media accounts the music they deserve. Epidemic Sound is a royalty-free music link. For more information, check out epidemicsound.com. Fantasy Parade by Tori Wolf. As we welcome you back here, taking you guys up until 2 o'clock. And I will tell you this, that, we are kind of, I don't want to say I was been procrastinating, but I think that, it was on my bucket list to accomplish. And I just kept on going through the day by day saying, I'm going to do it. I never did it. And so now it's kind of like, all right, well, we're here. We've done the list, and, now I'm like, all right, intrigued. So over the rest of the remainder of the program, we're going to give you this year's top 25. Now, I could have done a top 10, and last year we did a top 10. It was me, former co-host Trey, and Jake, right? And it's going to be interesting. I'm fascinated on seeing where do they fit this year, and I think I have a better range over where they, this past year's tops than anything else. Now, I'm also giving you the top 25 compared to the top 10. So I'm going to give you my kind of brief take on where these females belong. And then what I'm going to do is when I get to the top 10, I'll tell you my top 10, and then I'll go back down and, see where people lie. I will say this, that comparing now my top 10 that I have today to the top 10 that was last year, a lot of things changed. And I think it's good. I like it. So let me know what you guys think. Coming at number 25 for me. Let me see where I get my notes at. Coming in at number 25 is Sonia Deville. She finished off the year with 48 matches, only winning 2 of them. Now, the reason I put Sonia Deville in this top 25 list is because I see Sonya Deville as that one, as the one of the few who has come in and kind of just been thrown in there to kind of, I want to say, keep an athlete busy, keep her opponent busy. And we saw it tremendously this year with people like, Charlotte Flair, even Ronda Rousey. And so, the one thing that I really like about Sonya Deville, she's always great. Whenever you need someone to fill in, she's there. I'd even consider on this Edge kind of like a Heath Slater role in the WWE for the female division. You need someone to step in to work an athlete, but and maybe help them get over, but not go extreme. Sonya Deville is the person. Coming in at 25, notes are kind of all over the place. Okay, is Nikki Cross. Changing back from Nikki ASH to Nikki Cross, probably one of the better things. But see, 2 years ago, I think, 2 years ago, for me, she was ranked at number 10. And for me, 2 years ago, she was on the verge. They're making a gimmick that was just not working work. And I felt, she makes the list. 41 matches, 9 wins, 32 losses. And for me, they finally brought her back to Nikki Cross. And, I really, I think that's probably one of the best reenvironments. I like where Nikki Cross is. My only question is where is she going to go with the character? And how far is she going to go? Nikki Cross is 33 years old. She has a lot of wrestling left. I think she's a tremendous athlete. I think she's one of those athletes that get overlooked as a top-tier athlete. No, I don't think that she's top-tier quite yet, but she's definitely working there. So Nikki Cross coming at number 24. Number 25. Well, number 23, excuse me. I have to talk about Dakota Kai. Okay, she first brought to my attention back in NXT. All right, and she was getting brought up, and she was working with Raquel Gonzalez at the time, and she was getting that the way that the last time I saw her before coming back to the WWE, before she got released, before everything went haywire, it felt that she was going to be a big face with Raquel Gonzalez, and they're going to both win the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Now I was maybe a little upset when we see her come back, form Damage Control, and become this hero role. But I really like what she's been capable of doing as his heel character. And maybe you guys will tell me I'm wrong, but I really like it. It is kind of something new, something interesting. And I think she definitely deserves to be in the top 25. Coming in at number 23 here, 22, a matter of fact, is going to be Ronda Rousey. 57 matches. She's 44-10. Obviously included, she's some dominant figure. She came in, she's won a championship last year. She likes to insert herself in roles in the WWE, and I find it struggling to see someone, Ronda Rousey, to be up at the top and then really not. There's an image, there's a figure around being a champion, being at the top of the women's division. I feel when you compare someone like Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair side by side, I think a lot of people, including myself, still see Ronda Rousey a top, kind of just like a fighter, right? She just wants to fight. There's no much creative power. There's no really sense of, all right, how can I better someone else, if not better me? She goes in there, she gets the job done, she gets out, compared to a person like Charlotte Flair. And let me revise this because I don't know what goes on behind the curtain. I don't know what goes on at the performance center or while these athletes train with each other. But my take is that she's definitely have um from the image that I see on the screen, this is what limits me. Now she's back. She's working with Shayna Baszler, and I think this is a kind of a great team. And this is a new role for Ronda, and I hopefully that they continue this tag team action, go on and maybe bring life to the women's tag team division in the WWE. But Ronda Rousey is place number 22 for me. Coming in at number 21 is Thunder Rosa, and I'm actually very, very, very disappointed at this one. This 36-year-old, it's been through a championship run, one of my favorite anticipated runs coming into 2023. She finally sees that AEW Women's Championship back at the St. Patrick's Day Slam. And then this run just, kind of for me just didn't feel right. She sits at 2020. She sits at 21 because of somewhat of the injuries. She's yet to wrestle this year. She in 31 matches of 2022. She's 26-4. Drops the title in the middle of the year. Wasn't as spectacular as I expected. And here's one of the athletes that, she's showing that she still has it. And I think what's key now is that she's also displaying that, hey, it's not just about her, it's about everyone surrounding her. She's made people like Jamie Hayter look that much better. So coming in at 21 is Thunder Rosa. Coming in at number 20 is Saraya, aka Paige. And I think she makes the list just because, even though she's only had one match in 2022, she's had 3 matches so far. She's 1-1 so far this year. I think anyone who has had, a career, what they would call career-ending injury, like Saraya, like Roman, like Edge, and like Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, then I think they should be recognized. And I see, she came back, she had a match, she looks great, she looks fantastic. She comes in at 20. Coming in at 19 is Raquel Rodriguez. I think this name has been brought up time and time again. I think she's an incredible athlete. I feel like she's one of the athletes that just is going to take some extra time to fit in. We were talking about this last week prior to Elimination Chamber, and one of the things was this year's Elimination Chamber was the reason to what do you want to call was the Elimination Chamber is a platform for people, men, women, to really showcase what they're where they're at. And I think it's also a platform to show everybody else in the locker room, are you ready to move up to the next level, at least starting to? And I think what Raquel Rodriguez was able to produce in the Elimination Chamber was, hey, I'm ready to get started to moving up to the next level. And I think that's where things get a little fancy for me. In 64 matches last year, she won 44 of them. There was also a tough transition because she was part of the Dakota Kai. Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai was going to be teaming up again in NXT to take, the goals was to take out Toxic Attraction, I believe, at the time. And I think that's before everything changed. Dakota Kai gets released. Raquel Gonzalez changes her name to Rodriguez, gets bumped up to the WWE, and has to kind of change her role and change her image from this fierce, dominating, strong giant of a female athlete in NXT to this something almost completely different in WWE. And so she's definitely in 2022 has come a long ways to play number 19. All right, so these next kind of 4, maybe 5 athletes, they're more of a younger generation. I really like what they're capable of putting out there. Not so much to this one at the age 34 coming in number 18 is Tasha Steers. Listen, for me, it's trying just to find your role and trying to see, how you can do to stay in the spot, be in the spotlight, even if you, got an early start, late start, whatever. Coming in 18 is Tasha Steers. All right, this next big one kind of really took coming in at number 19, if I could find her. She's on my list somewhere. Number 20, the 25-year-old Toni Storm. one of a great ally. I think athlete. I think she was overlooked in WWE. She goes on and leaves WWE, and she's finding her path in AEW, starting to find herself, fits in AEW perfectly. I feel like at some time she's going to be champion. All right, so this coming up number 18 and number 15 in my books. All right, these are kind of very younger women. I think number 18 is kind of taken a step. Not number 18. Number 18. So number 17. No, number 16 in my books. I'm sorry, I'm got lost track of numbers. Number 16 coming in my books. She was a big aspect, in my opinion, coming into 2022. She got some really nice push. She looks really amazing. As a matter of fact, I had her as my outbreak talent of the year, and that's going to be Cora Jade. She kind of finished off on the 500 marker, but I really liked what she was capable of. I really enjoyed Cora Jade's performances, and I think as a young, talented person, I mean, she's only what is she? She's only like 22 years old. If I have her, Cora Jade. Listen, she's a golden star. She's only 22-year-old, and she's already performing at great levels. And I think Cora Jade is one of those talents that you keep in the WWE for a while. You kind of shape up to what you want her to be, and then you give her that push. And I think she's in about 5 years. She's going to be ready to go. Okay, the same thing for this number 15 spot as Roxanne Perez, currently the NXT Championship on a 71-day run. Roxanne is Perez. I believe she's only, I don't know if I have her. I should have her. I think she's only like 21. All right. Another young, very young person, NXT champion, 23-12 last year. She's already 7-1 this year. She's holding that title proud. Definitely a lot of great matches to get up to this moment. And this is what you love seeing, what you love enduring. Coming in at number 14 is another champion in my books, AEW Women's World Champion on a 95-day run so far, and that's Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter is 25-14-11 on the year, undefeated so far this year. She's 27 years old, and she's getting a big push, finding a combination of younger and great talent of females. Coming in at number 13, and I think a lot of people is going to argue about this one. Let me fix my blinds here. That rope keeps on sliding down. But coming in at number 13 is going to be Rhea Ripley. And I know people are going to ask about this, but I want you guys to remember this is about 2022. She teams up with some people, doesn't work out the same way. We wanted her, when she left Liv Morgan, we wanted her to get that push. She didn't quite get that push. She joins the Judgment Day. And I kind of feel like the Judgment Day has been kind of a slow process, of building up. They haven't really captivated any titles. She's just now getting the push that she desires. I feel like this little mommy role was probably, a little funny, a little interesting at the beginning, but now it's kind of just died on down. So I'm not really too big fan of this whole quote unquote mommy role. But Rhea Ripley definitely starting. Plus, she, hasn't won many matches. She was 20-42 last year in 64 matches. Coming in at number 12 is Alexa Bliss. Starting to find herself again. I think, I just think the story writers creative writers don't really have much for Alexa Bliss at this time. Coming in at number 11 is Ruby Soho. Someone, a big fan favorite of. Definitely think that she's worth a lot more. Every time I feel like she's getting up there, the AEW kind of takes her 2 steps back again. So I hope this year could be something a little bit different. And then coming in at number 10, we're going to save that for you for when we come back from break. All right, still more to come. Taking you to the last segment here, up until 2 on a TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.
Trying to make up your mind like you need more time. You've already spent most of mine. Even when your words fail, you try to keep it light. You realize I'm done right. You can be honest. I don't appreciate your lies. It's about damn time you get it right. I'm up all night. You keep pretending.
Alrighty, 142 here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. Be back again tomorrow morning, hopefully, to kind of give you a little bit more information, get you guys ready for the weekend, getting you guys ready for SmackDown, for baseball, and a lot of great things coming your way, still to come here on the throw-in. Well, we've been giving you our, we've been giving you our top 25 females of 2022. And maybe it's a little much, maybe it's a little far-fetched. And, the way I see about it is that listen, there was a lot of, the reason I put a top 22 is because there's females that deserve to be in the top 10. Okay, and that we're not. So tomorrow we're going to come back and we'll give you the men's top 25. Okay. And there's, listen, you can argue, all right, that regardless of their annual record, regardless of what their accomplishment was, I also look at the level of how much that athlete has impacted either me personally or the professional wrestling world. And, when we look at this top 25 list, got the top 10, it really shows. So coming in, and so I want to give you my list, and I want to hear from you. I want you guys to get a chance to show me and to tell me your top 10 female wrestlers of 2022. I want to compare and contrast. All right, coming in at number 10, last year's 10 list, I'm going to go from 10 to 1 for 2021 for me. We had Nikki ASH, who's now Nikki Cross, Zelina Vega, Mandy Rose, Doudrop, Becky Lynch, Britt Baker, Mickie James, Bianca Belair, Thunder Rosa, and Charlotte Flair. Now, listen, this is this list. There's Nikki ASH, Zelina Vega, Mandy Rose, Doudrop. I know for a top, Thunder Rosa moved down. Some of them haven't made the list. Some of them have made the list. And so I'm interested in seeing what you guys have to think. All right, coming in at number 10 here has to be the Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And one thing that I will argue about Dr. Britt Baker, she's only wrestled 28 matches, 17 and 11 last year. But she's kind of one of those solidifying female. She's kind of put herself in the position in AEW where she is the female to beat. And I think that's kind of a statement. When you have Jade Cargill, who's been undefeated, all right, who's been champion for 413 days, but you still go look back. I'll go on and say that Britt Baker, in my opinion, is the Charlotte Flair for, the WWE. Or in another case, she is the Roman Reigns of the WWE. She is the person to beat. You could beat Thunder Rosa. You could go beat the entire roster. But I think until you beat Dr. Britt Baker, then, then you're nobody. And for me, you're not the best of the best. And so, she hasn't had much incredible moments, but what she does is that what you notice that when her name is called upon, people will listen. She gravitates, people linger around her. She gravitates tickets. And that's what you need in AEW. Coming in at number 9 is probably the female workhorse of WWE in 2022 is Liv Morgan. Out of 113 matches, she's 65 and 44. Now, given this wasn't a title year run. This was a lot of run. She's the type of female that I think the she has to fight her way to maintain relevancy, each and every week. And listen, when she goes out there, win or loss, I tell you, she fights until the end. And it's so great to watch her, even though she's not a tight champion, and I don't think she will be for a while, maybe a tag team champion down the road. But this is a woman who really sparked, a lot, has been sparking people's eyes. And she's not someone to take lightly or to bypass. Coming in At number 8 is Asuka. And I tell you, Asuka, she's kind of had a down year. But here's what I tell you about Asuka and why I like Asuka so much. If I could find her on my list, and she's my okay, is that she gets better as she gets older. She's 41 years old, and there's not many females on this list that is above the age of 40 that really comes out there and really gravitates your attention. She was able with some creative freedom to kind of get back into her old ways. She's had some incredible matches this year. She was a part of War Games, and she's back. Even with under Vince McMahon, she was just such a dominant figure, and she always has. Like, you're scared of Asuka. For her at 41 years old, going up against a female like Bianca Belair or Liv Morgan. I mean, she is a hardcore veteran in this industry that is still hanging in there. And to be 41 and hanging in there with the top tier elites in the WWE, we don't think of her as a face of the WWE. We think of her as a badass of the WWE. And to still hang in there and to still linger and to still, do what she does. And now she's finding herself in a championship position, challenging Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania. I think that's just something just beyond compare. Now we're going to take a little completely different opposite direction for number 7. I'm going in for Deonna Purrazzo. First time making my top 10 list here. And I'll tell you why. All right. She's only in Impact Wrestling. All right. She's wrestled 43 matches. She's 25-18. All right. She's already 2-1 on the year. She's already been AEW's champion. She's only 28 years old. I think she's hit the ceiling for Impact Wrestling. And I think over the next 2, maybe 3 years, I would like to see her kind of, I don't want this missed opportunity to kind of bypass us. So I think over the next 2 to 3 years, I would love to see Deonna Purrazzo find her way in AEW, find her way in a WWE, because there's a lot more that she's capable of doing. And, no disrespect to Impact Wrestling, but Impact Wrestling is only able to do so much for you. Deonna Purrazzo comes at number 7. Now coming at number 6, ever since leaving the WWE, she's really brought herself up. She's really pushed to get more out. Now, you don't really see it. You kind of see it behind closed doors, but she is the Warrior Wrestling Women's Champion for 305 days. She is the Women's Wrestling World Champion, the Ring of Honor's Women's Wrestling World Champion at 74 days. She had a 32-8 year last year, in 41 matches. And that's going to be Athena, a.k.a. Ember Moon. And you know what? It was such a shame to see Ember Moon leave WWE, but I think it was such an honorary pleasure to see her capable of going out and actually having success. I thought Athena was one who was, going to get lost in the mix, and very easy to do so at the age of 34. But she's honestly one of that undervalued champions in the professional world wrestling. All right, coming in at number 5, coming actually down on my list from by 2, has to be Bianca. It has to be actually moving up 1. Yeah, moving up 1 has to be Becky Lynch. I think there's a statement to say, if you can come back from having a child, and trust me, and I don't know how. Don't ask me how Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch has been able to do it. But we said last year that she looks in phenomenal shape, and what she was able to do with the championship, and she's had some really great matches. Her feud last year was primarily with Bianca Belair, and I think she took that with pride and with pleasure, because she was able to help. If Bianca wasn't established by yet, she was able to help establish Bianca and elevate her, and we'll find out why. The other thing is, it's a little disappointing year. This is the first year that you see Becky Lynch in the career of professional wrestling be under 500 in wrestling wins versus losses, 23-38. And professional wrestling, maybe at least WWE compared to AEW does a terrible job because they highlight this. But sometimes when you're telling a good story, it's not about wins or losses, but you do have to recognize that. Coming in at number 4 is Mickie James, the 43-year-old Stinger. I thought she was going to retire at the beginning of this year, man. Carrying that that Impact Knockout World's Women's Champion, 40 days counting, 18-7 last year. She's having fun, and still proving to everyone she could do it at that level. Coming in at number 3, and I think these last 3 has kind of been a little bit difficult. Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair at number 3, in my opinion, you guys listen. She's the go-to woman in professional wrestling. You need someone to carry the title. Charlotte Flair is the person. You need someone to be a heel or to be a face. Charlotte Flair is the person. You need someone to put over another person. Charlotte Flair is the person. 54-day SmackDown title reign after beating Ronda Rousey. Listen, she's the type of female that she can cause any type of drama in the world. Well, guess what? She's still the go-to person. There's a reason why she's the queen. She comes in at number 3. Coming at number 2, I think this was difficult, but I think this is appropriate. 24-0, 8-0 so far this year, and 413 days counting as AEW TBS champion. That is Jade Cargill. She's just such a masterpiece. Inside that, in the ring, she's still developing. The fact they've stuck with her for those many days and she still goes. I think the downside is the lack of her competing in the ring. So that's it. And it's not her fault. It's AEW's position. It's not her fault. But Jade Cargill, someone who I really didn't think we really grew, she really impressed a lot of people last year. This past year. She's really, I'm going to say she's the face. All right. Pure dominance, quick work, gets in and out, 5-minute match. I don't think she has a match over 6 minutes yet all year, her entire tenure between AEW as champion. All right. Quick in and work, 5-minute works, great matches. That's all you got to say. And the thing is that she is I consider her the face, the women's face of AEW wrestling. And coming in at number 1, I think right now holds that power over anyone else. All right, holds that power in the WWE, the face of WWE, face of females wrestling, the face of professional wrestling. I think all in general right now has to be Bianca Belair. 106 matches, 82-18. She's a Raw Women's Champion for 326 days, about to defend it at WrestleMania, and she's undefeated so far this year. All right, she's really stepped up since WrestleMania last year to face all opponents. There's just nothing more that you can say with Bianca Belair. All right, so quickly, top 25, we got Sonya Deville at 25. 24 is Nikki Cross, followed by Dakota Kai at 23. Ronda Rousey at 22, Thunder Rosa at 21, Saraya at 20. Raquel Rodriguez is number 19. 18, Natasha Steeles, Toni Storm at 17, Cora Jade, and Roxanne Perez. 14 is Jamie Hayter, followed by Rhea Ripley, number 13. Alexa Bliss is number 12, Ruby Soho, number 11, and Dr. Britt Baker is number 10. And number 9 is Liv Morgan, Asuka's number 8. Deonna Purrazzo is number 7. Athena is number 6. Becky Lynch is number 5. Mickie James is number 4. Charlotte Flair, the Queen, is number 3. Jade Cargill is number 2. And Bianca Belair is my top number 1. So let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that statement. And now, quickly, before we finish off our program, I want to give you the 5 female matches of 2022, in my opinion. Coming in at number 5 is going to be the St. Patrick's Day Slam. Thunder Rosa versus Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, for the AEW Women's Championship. And the reason why I put this one at number 5 is I really thought that this was a year-long storyline from 2021 where these two females met at the St. Patrick's Day Slam with Dr. Britt Baker capturing the AEW World's Champion. It was a year-long battle for Thunder Rosa, finally being able to overcome her obstacles inside a steel cage. Or with this support, steel cage. Going on to win. Now, I would give you that title run for Thunder Rosa. Probably could have been better. But I think the storyline really made this match a top 5 component. Coming in at number 4 has to be the War Games. The first War Games for the females in the WWE. It was Team Bianca Belair. Okay, you had Alexa Bliss, Mia Yim, and I know it doesn't show you, Becky Lynch and Asuka taking on Bayley, Damage Control, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, Rhea Ripley, and Nikki Cross. And I think this is just elevated, expected. It was highly expected, and I think it's just topped off in number 4. Number 3 has to be Battle of the Belts, Thunder Rosa again, Jamie Hayter in for the title. And I think this was an elevating match. I think right when you thought Thunder was kind of getting down, she got brought right back up, and she captivated in this at the Battle of the Belts. Coming in at number 2, and this is the reason why it comes in at number 2, was the WrestleMania Backlash match between Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. It was an I Quit match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. And here's the thing. I will tell you this, is that this was supposed to be the WrestleMania match that we never saw. It happened a month later. And I was a little upset about this because the way, and we'll definitely tie it into heading closer to WrestleMania, but I was a little upset about this with how this unfolded and how this had to come away at WrestleMania Backlash. But they finally had their moment. I think it was lights out, coming in the top 5. And finally, last but not least, here has to be the Raw Women's Championship match at WrestleMania. Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair kind of setting that throne, passing on, saying, all right, you want to solidify yourself as female dominancy. This is how you did it. I think this was, I know we speculated saying, hey, Ronda should have faced Becky Lynch at WrestleMania last year, but I thought this was a much better choice, and it was a much better result and outcome. So that was my top 5. If you miss any of that, just rewind it, watch it again. If not, listen to us, download us, and take it off. So tomorrow we will give you our top 25 in men's, and we will also give you our top 5 men's matches, all by pay-per-view. We want to get you guys ready for the weekend in the world of sports, as well as giving you guys ready for spring training baseball that begins tomorrow. NBA basketball returns tonight. Catch out your favorite games in the NBA. Be sure to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and don't forget to tune us in tomorrow for our Friday show episode. Always fun. Well, hey, that was it. Great 2 hours, you guys. Want to give you guys a round of applause. And we will be back again tomorrow. On behalf of everyone making this possible, want to thank StreamYard, Spreaker, Epidemic Sound, much more. Until tomorrow, you guys take care. Thank you guys for listening to The Throw-In right here on the TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel.